welcome to the Black Diamond stage. My name is Angel Castellanos, and I've been associated with this show for about 20 years now. I used to come here as a buyer, then I transitioned into a brand ambassador, and now I'm a media person, and you'll see my travel segments on Fox News. I also have a YouTube channel called The Tour Guy. I produce educational content on there on European cities, and I spend about 7 months out of the year traveling and creating content and speaking about it and writing. This particular stage is really planned to understand the changing retail of landscape. And it's all about up-leveling brand marketing, diversifying your strategies through omni-channel marketing, and a bit more. So we have some really good programming for you on this particular stage. So before we can begin, I'm obliged to thank our wonderful sponsors who have done such a great job. So the sponsors that are the Diamond sponsors are Cabo, Bricks, DB, Eagle Creek, Osprey, Pelican, Headgrin, 24/7, Cotopaxi, Delcy, and Eastpak. A bunch of really great brands. So thank you again for being our Diamond sponsors. So I want to kick off our first session here in 2025 on this particular stage, and it's a brand workshop about monetizing your platform. So here we're going to learn that content is really about storytelling, but that storytelling is the actual revenue driver to your business, and it's a powerful way to bring in some extra dollars. So you're going to hear strategies for brands to monetize your platforms through affiliate marketing, creator collaborations, and through digital product offerings. They're also going to discuss on this stage how to turn content into sustainable revenue streams, build trust with creators like myself, and drive conversations in today's marketplace, and really be a market leader when it comes to storytelling. To lead this particular workshop, we have the amazing and knowledgeable Kim Tate. She's a seasoned traveler, content creator, industry speaker. She has 13 years of experience when it comes to travel blogging, and she's the founder of Stuff Suitcase, the co-host of the Vacation Mavens podcast, and a writer for Yahoo Creators. So she shares her packing advice, cruise ship insights, destination guides, airport tips, and all the real practical pieces of information that you need to know on how to travel better and smarter. So with all that said, we really feel that she's the perfect person to sort of talk about how to turn that storytelling element into a revenue driver and monetize your different platforms. So I want to welcome Kim to the stage. Give a warm welcome to Kim Tate. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here. I had some slides presented, but we're having some technical difficulties, so I'm going to slide over here so that I can reference my own notes, which I printed in advance. So you guys don't get to see them, but at least I have them. So you'll still get the information, you just won't be able to maybe take the pictures of some of the stuff that I was going to share. So as Angel mentioned, I am here to kind of give you guys a creator's look into how you might be able to work with creators to storytell and help increase your monetization. I don't know how many of you were at the 1 o'clock session just now about the travel trends. There's a thing in there I saw that she mentioned how much social media is driving sales in the travel goods sphere, and creators, I think, and influencers are the primary revenue for that, drivers for that. So today we're going to talk about how to use creators to do that. I'm going to focus on 4 main ways that you can work with creators. That's through, product gifting. I'm sure, have any of you heard of product gifting? Have any of you worked with creators that way? There's also brand sponsorship, where you are paying them. You have a contract, you have a list of deliverables that you're going to give them. We're also talking about UGC. Anybody heard of UGC? Because it's kind of I feel like it's an old school thing, but it's kind of got a new light with content creators. And then also affiliate marketing and how that works amongst content creators and brands. So we're going to cover all that, and then some best practices to help you. You don't get to meet me, but again, you heard from Angel. I have been blogging since 2012. I started a site focused on family travel and sharing tips with fellow moms to help get them out the door, help them enjoy their vacations with their families since they're spending so much time and money on it. So I partnered with I say over 65, but it's probably more than I've worked with brands like Prana, Visit California, Delta Airlines, Celebrity Cruises, a few different brands. So hopefully I have enough experience. I had shared I found in my archives, one of my first gear partnerships was a brand. They're not air. I don't even know if they're still around, but it was called Yugo Bags. And they customized a suitcase and sent it to me. And I made a YouTube video and a blog post all about it. And it was kind of my first entry into travel gear partnerships. That was one of my first ones. But in the lifestyle space, brand and creator partnerships have been going on forever and ever. They have been partnering. I don't know if you've ever been online and seen people talk about like, hey, this applesauce or this energy drink or something like that. So in the lifestyle space, these kind of partnerships have been going on for years and years. And I feel like in the travel space, especially at the Travel Goods Show, you guys have the opportunity as they've started bringing more media in to learn how to work with us to help you guys sell your products to our followers. And that goes back to the thing I was bringing up that 69%, there's Shopify, everybody knows Shopify. They did a marketing research on influencer marketing. They did a survey. They found that 69% of consumers trust the recommendations they get from influencers. I mean, that's a pretty big number, I would say, 69. Have any of you that's in this audience, have you guys purchased something because you've seen someone recommend it to you? I would say most of us probably have. And then an interesting little side point of that is I am the mom to 2 Gen Zers. So they are really using online social media to get product recommendations. And 74% of Gen Z say that online social media, which they spend all of their free time scrolling, is their primary product discovery tool. So if they're going to learn about something, they're not going to see it in a store. They're seeing it on social media. So if you guys are trying to reach Gen Zers, you need to be getting on social media. And if that's not through your own, platforms, then you need to be partnering with creators who understand those platforms. The first thing we're going to talk about is product exchange. That is the most basic form of partnering with a creator. So there are positives and negatives to each of these things I'm going to bring up. And then I'm going to give you some ideas of best practices about how to maximize the potential with this. So for product exchanges, this is where you maybe don't have a budget for your marketing to do creator partnerships, but you do want to try and get on some kind of creator. You want to get on social media in a natural way with a creator that you like. The thing about product exchange, you're probably not going to be reaching mega influencers. So don't go after someone who has a really high following because a lot of them are going to either be repped by an agent. They are going to require payment. You're always welcome to outreach to people and see what they say. Just don't be alarmed if they come back and say, yeah, here's my rate card. Here's what I would charge for that. So just keep that in mind. With product exchanges, the positive of this, like I said, you're just giving the product. So you're not needing a big marketing budget. Another positive that you have is that it allows for an authentic storytelling so that creator can choose whatever they want to emphasize, whatever they want to share. But the negative to that goes on that flip side. They can also talk about like, hey, I really didn't like these wheels. It does not work well. These bungee cords aren't right. They're not holding anything in place. Like they have some more flexibility on sharing whatever they want to share, which makes it very authentic. So that's a pro and con of influencer marketing when there's not a contract and specific messaging applied. Another negative to that one is going to be that once that influencer uses that product, shares that one Instagram story or reel or whatever they've made, makes that one YouTube, they're probably not going to be promoting it much longer unless they fall in love with it and they just keep taking it on trips. But instead, they're going to go to the next product that comes along their wheelhouse. They're going to take that on their next trip. So just keep that in mind when you're considering providing product. That's what you need to consider are you good with that one time, then and gone. When you are choosing the creators, like I said, make sure you're looking at their audience, check that aligns with what you're looking for, and you think they would be receptive to what you're offering. Also look at what kind of stuff they share. If there's someone sharing a lot of paid campaigns, sponsored campaigns, that's probably not someone, if you're just looking to exchange your product, might not be a good fit. So just do a little bit of research in advance to make sure that it fits what you're looking for. So that's kind of the best practice there. When you do reach out to them, try and still be very upfront and honest. Hey, we don't really have a marketing budget, but we would love to send you XYZ. Would you be willing to check it out and maybe review it? just keep in mind, you don't have the rights to demand deliverables when you're doing a product exchange. For most creators, you can request, say, hey, do you think this would be a fit? What are you thinking of doing? When would you maybe share it? You can always ask and see what they say, but at the end, there's no like set deliverable timeline where I know I'm taking it on a trip. I'm going to give you 3 images. There's not that with a product exchange. So something to keep in mind. The next level up from that then would be, of course, collaboration, sponsorship, partnerships. And that's where you're going to come to them and say, or they might come to you. So this is something, I mean, how many of you have any of you, I don't know what kind of role you have in your brands. There's a lot of media that pitches brands as well. So you might be getting people coming to you. But the big thing to think is, what is your marketing budget for what this campaign looks like? And where is the audience you are trying to reach? That's the biggest thing. Because with this, the pros of doing a paid sponsorship program is that you have the opportunity to say, hey, we're focusing on, we've got these new wheels that will turn in every direction. And so then that influencer can go, oh, I'm really going to focus on emphasizing the wheels when I'm sharing it. So I'm going to take it on the airport and spin it and film that kind of thing, where you can control the messaging, you can kind of emphasize that. And then the other part of that is that you get to say what the timeline is going to look like and what you're looking for. So you can say, hey, we really want to be on Instagram. That's where our audience is. If you guys are looking for Gen Zers, maybe you want to find someone who's really big on TikTok. Maybe you want to be looking for someone who understands the TikTok audience and algorithm. So keep that in mind as well. The negatives of these kind of things, of course, you have to have the budget allocation. So in addition to providing the product, you're looking at a wide range of numbers, and you never know what number you're going to get from different influencers. I don't think many of us tell each other what we charge people. So it is a weird world. You'll have to play by ear what you feel comfortable paying. The other thing that you have that's a positive of these kind of things is you can request reporting and analytics. So if you are partnering with a company or if you're partnering with a creator, you can say to them, hey, after this, what was the reach? What was the engagement? You can also request if there's a specific link, like are you driving just brand awareness? It's a very different thing. A brand awareness means the aesthetic. Maybe you want beautiful pictures. Maybe you're just trying to get mentioned. Maybe you want more followers. You're just trying to get them to tag you and you want people to then follow you on your social media. But if you're trying to drive sales, that's a very different look to a campaign where we want to have this link included. Make sure you're doing the call to action that's about buying and now, those kind of things. So keep that in mind. Another negative is that possibility of not having the outcome you want if you haven't clearly specified that. So you might be expecting to spend this amount of marketing budget, but because none of us can control the Instagram, YouTube, TikTok algorithms, it flops and it does not do what you expected. So just be mindful that you might spend this money and you might not get what you want. Typically, as a creator myself, if that ever happens, I'm normally saying, I'm going to do another post because I want to help boost the final numbers. So keep that in mind that, hey, if it doesn't reach how you want it or how we're expecting it, can you please maybe do an extra story or something? And a lot of times creators, it's about for me, it's about relationships. I am not a one and done type person. I want to have good, long lasting relationships. And so I want it to be a win-win on both sides. So that's something to keep in mind is hopefully you work with creators who feel that way. They're not just a one and done, make the bank deposit, I'm moving on to the next product, build that relationship. And, the best practices for this, again, have a clear contract. When you're paying the money, know when are you paying? Are you paying up front? Are you paying once the deliverables have been achieved? Is it going to be done within 30 days? Are you capable of paying within 30 days? I've partnered with a lot of brands and I have to fill out all these extra forms through different departments and 90 days later, I'm finally getting the payment. So make sure you have that in mind and that everything's clearly laid out so both sides know what to expect. And then another best practice is make sure if you're spending money on this, do your due diligence of looking at that creator. Don't necessarily just see the numbers. Look at what they're posting. Does that match the aesthetic of your brand? Is that what you want to be told? Does that fit what you're looking for? Also make sure that you look at the people when they're commenting. What are people saying on some of their past? Like, oh, here they did another luggage gear review. Let me read the comments. What is their audience saying? Are these people who are just like, fire, it's lit? Or are these people who are like, oh, I really like those wheels, or just keep in mind who you're looking for. What do you need? Do you want the fire lit audience, or do you want the I love those wheels audience? So it's something to keep in mind. Third level we're going to talk about right now is the user generated content. So this can anybody raise their hand if you've heard of this? Okay, 1, 2, couple people. Oh, more over here. Good. So this used to be, you've probably seen a brand that said, hey, tag Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a Chiefs fan as well. I grew up in Kansas City, so lifelong Chiefs fan, not a bandwagoner. Sorry. So you tag Kansas City Chiefs, maybe you'll get the chance that we'll share your photo on our Instagram, or you'll be entered to win $1,000 Chiefs gear basket, right? And so you have those kind of things where that was kind of the old school UGC. It was literally consumers who fell in love with the brand and they just naturally shared about the brand. And so that's great. And I think that's every brand's dream. And the reason that's every brand's dream is because the pro of UGC is it's an authentic storytelling experience. And we've already discussed that storytelling is what people are looking for on social media. It's how people buy stuff. They want to buy stuff because they're inspired, because it's going to solve a problem. And that storytelling is what's helping them realize that that product is what they need. And so user-generated content naturally has that storytelling. And so it's a social proof of showing that product being used in a really effective way. So another part of that is that you also can control the messaging. So a lot of times with UGC now, you're hiring creators. There's whole networks now, like trying to think of what they're called. I'm blanking, but they're networks that work on brands and creators that are UGC creators, and they're connecting them. And so I have a friend who does this a lot. This is her primary revenue stream now, is she is just getting stuff sent to her house with, they're called hooks, and they're saying, hey, we want you to say this. We want you to say this. This is the call to action. And so they almost give her a script. And so she goes into her house. She films. She did Wello socks. Have you guys heard of Wello socks, the compression socks? That was one of her brands that she did. And the ad actually came up in my feed. It was funny. I was like, oh, I know her. And so it was her making this campaign about wearing these Wello compression socks. She did not post it on her social media. She did not need to do anything with it. All she needed to do is have the skill and the filming to understand what is the hook, what is the call to action, how do I film this cool shot of me wearing the, socks, how do I film me going with my suitcase out of the door. She filmed all that, and then she gave that content to the brand. Then that brand took her video, put it together, and ran a bunch of ads that's why it ended up on my feed, was because the Wello ad came into my feed. So that's how user-generated content is being used now. It is going to creators who have the skills you need to create the product or to create the content. So that's how you're able to control that messaging. A couple of cons is you don't always know that, are they actually good at filming? What will it actually look like? So there's a little bit of discrepancy there. So that says like quality and branding control is what can be inconsistent. Also, if you're working on creating a really nice aesthetic of your social channels and you have a lot of different people in different lighting and backgrounds, it can kind of be disruptive. So it's always good when you're doing these is to use a mix of UGC sprinkled in with what your normal feed looks like, especially like with Instagram and TikTok, when that feed for followers is so important. It's something to keep in mind. But again, a lot of brands are using this just to run ads. So you're buying the content, you own that content, and you can throw ad money behind it instead of you having to have an agency to film or create this content for you. You're going to creators and having them make this. So that is definitely a positive of the user-generated content. The picture I share here, so this was a good example. I did a campaign with Visit Scottsdale, and while I was there, they bought images for me. So they paid for a package for me to help promote Visit Scottsdale. And that campaign was 3 years ago, and this was 2 weeks ago. They still had that category or that catalog of images, and they made a post about the best Instagram spots Scottsdale, and they chose that image that I had given them. And then they put other people's images together, and they made a whole carousel about best Instagram spots. So keep in mind that you get that content for a long time. Just make sure you have clear contracts about what the rights are. Do you own all the rights? Do they retain the rights? Do you have unlimited use? Is it in perpetuity? Yeah, those kind of things.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How much less expensive is it to work with somebody like yourself versus going to an agency where it's one and done?
That's great. So she's saying, how much less expensive can you save money if you work directly with a creator, as opposed to going to an agency that then is going to field out those creators for you? Am I understanding that?
Right, and you know it's going to work, whereas with you, you're not sure.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say an agency. Are you talking about like a repping agency where they're...
I'm talking about an ad agency or something thereof.
Okay.
That would take the project,
Right.
what you want with it,
Right.
get it out there, versus you going, I think I'll start looking at it.
Right. Well, I think that's that also, it's not about the money that you're spending, it's about where the money is going. Because what you're saying there is, instead of you don't have an in-house social marketing team that's maybe choosing the creators you work with and creating those Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the money it's not necessarily about where you're finding the cost, it's about where you're spending the money. So when you're hiring a marketing agency that's running the ad campaigns and doing that for you and possibly finding the creators for you, that's one setup. That's a different number than what you're going to get if you have a social media manager who's finding creators. I do not know. I'm sorry. I am not an expert on what the marketing ad spend. If you tell me what, we can talk later. I don't know what you would spend on a marketing ad agency. If we cover that, then I can give you an idea of what an average social media marketer in a tourism office would make first, and then what they take creators. We can look at numbers that way.
I know the answer to my question.
Right. No, I don't know that. So the next thing that I wanted to mention and bring up is affiliate marketing. And so this is an opportunity where I posted like Disneyland tickets here. I was going through some quick things, but affiliate marketing is where the creators are making a percentage on the sales. Everyone probably knows affiliate marketing. Most creators, especially people like me who started in the blogging world, we got started with affiliate marketing, where we'd recommend like, hey, this is the suitcase I'm using today, and then we'd link to that suitcase, whether it be on Amazon or Macy's or wherever that might be. And our audience then is like, I want to have that, buy that one, and they go and buy it, and we earn 5 to 10% of the sales, something along those lines. So the thing about affiliate marketing is it is performance based. You are paying for sales, like direct sales. So one of the things that encourages a lot of creators who are into affiliate marketing, they want to keep that long-term relationship. Like I have a relationship with Prana, so I already know how to get that Prana link, and it's easy for me to be like, oh, I'm going to recommend a t-shirt for this outfit. I'm going to go to Prana because I already know how quickly I can grab a link for Prana. So it can create a long-term relationship where the creator is looking to keep referring to that brand. The negatives of it is that you guys most definitely would need a management program for this. You'll need to use a third party. They've tried having in-house things where, use the code, whatever, and that's how you track it. Those are really normally clunky, and it becomes really hard for a lot of brands to then be able to bill and track that revenue and then the payouts of the sales on that. So almost always you're going to need to use a management system. And then to attract quality creators, you're probably going to have to offer some kind of incentive. Very few of us are just jumping on new affiliates to make 10% of a sale when we're already kind of in our zone of what's working for us. So it can be a really hard thing to get a new creator on board with your affiliates. Typically, it's linked to some kind of sponsorship to get started is how it normally works for me. So if I worked with, I'm looking right at Ricardo Beverly Hills. So they send me a bag, we make a partnership, and then that I have an affiliate link for that. So then it's a cross promotion where I keep using that bag. I can keep mentioning that link every time I share about it later on. But naturally it started because I took them on a trip and it was part of a paid campaign. So I'm not doing work, because that's the big thing that people don't always realize. Creators, we are not here to try and get free trips and free stuff. Like a lot of us who've been in the market for a while, we don't need more stuff. And we don't need a lot of free trips because it's work. And so for every time we take a trip, we have to take breaks. I've been on trips with my kids, and I'm the bad parent who's at the dinner table, like on my phone doing work, and everybody looks over thinking that we're not talking because we're at a family dinner, and that's not what it is. It is work, and it requires hours and hours of figuring out the filming shot, making sure you're timing it right, then editing, then posting, then managing the posts and managing the comments. So just keep in mind that it's not just free stuff and a free trip. It is work on the creator side, and that's the reason a lot of times creators will require payment, because it is work. So best practices for this is looking at, of course, you want to have commissions and long cookies. So more in the travel trip, like vacation planning, you need the long cookie window, because everybody's thinking about taking that trip to Paris, but are they actually sitting down that second and going, I'm booking that hotel now? Some do. I mean, it depends on where you're at in that funnel. Possibly some are the same with travel gear, is unless they see a creator share it and they're like in that spontaneous phase, it's just they're aware of it. So they still need to come down that funnel. So maybe in a week, they might finally be ready to buy that suitcase because they've been researching a few others, and you're like, oh, I actually decide that's the one I want. So that's what that long cookie window means, is allowing time where if you sent the person to that site, then when they come back to it, they're still choosing to buy it, and that person still gets credit for originally sending them there. You're also going to, it said like providing, I'm just going to make sure I'm looking. Yeah. So you can also provide assets. This is what happens a lot of times with these. We've got press releases. We can get you B-roll. We can get images, but very few creators. Most of what works is that using the product and actually creating your own content. So while you might be able to provide assets and everything for use for a lot of affiliates, a lot of times they're going to want that hands-on personal experience to be able to storytell again of using their product. And lastly, also with best practices for this, sometimes we'll get where there will be bonuses or first looks. Say, hey, we're launching XYZ next month. We're going to give you a first look. It's embargo. Don't share about it until this date. But we'll ship it out in advance. And then will you do, are you willing to share something on this date? So sometimes some of your high affiliate partnerships, you can help give them bonuses or early access to things. And that kind of make it a little more exciting for them to be able to feel like they're on the cusp of it. And so for affiliate marketing, if you are looking to get into this and you don't really manage it yourself, these are the main ones that a lot of creators use. So if you're kind of thinking about it, of course, Amazon, if you're on Amazon already, you're there. Amazon Associates, we can link to any Amazon product. I will say in the, especially in the Zennial space, Amazon's kind of experiencing I'm seeing a downtrend, and a lot of women my age are moving away from spending money on Amazon. They want to go direct to the brand because of certain things that have happened over the last year. I think that they just kind of had a bad taste for Amazon. I feel like that'll probably pop back up, but right now, just be aware of that. Commission Junction is one of the larger ones. I'm guessing from a brand perspective, when you're talking about this, I think they have a higher operating cost for you guys, so you're just getting in your feed wet. They're probably more of an elite level. Like to Know It is what this is. It used to be called Reward Style. If you have a sexy brand, and that's the best way I'm going to say it, Like to Know It is where all the cute girls doing the outfit of the day and the beautiful home porches and all of that, this is where I do a lot of apparel and collage books. Like, this is my airport outfit of the day. This is what I wore. I'll post that. I took a picture of me in the bathroom right before I spoke, and I'll post that on Like to Know It. Say, these are the pants, this is the shirt, that sort of stuff. So if you have a really cute brand that fits that, like home apparel, Like to Know It is great. And then the last one is Impact. And that one is kind of trying to get in the commission junction, but they do a lot with travel brands, hotel brands, things like that. So that's another one. There's another I didn't put up here, but another popular one is called Awin and ShareASale. Awin bought ShareASale. So they're merging. So, but I think that ShareASale has, based on the brands I work with, they probably have a lower overhead cost entry. So if you're looking for getting your feet with affiliate marketing, I think look to Awin. ShareASale's going away. The neat thing about these affiliate networks, the ones that I've listed here, all of them have a influencer content creator sponsorship aspect to their management. So if you don't want to manage finding creators, you don't want to manage that extra level of that, you can work with them on basically sourcing and getting a sponsorship package in addition to just the affiliate revenue. So that might be a good way to get your feet wet if you're just starting out. So our last slide is all about setting yourself up for success. So this is going to be, if you're ready, we said 69% of people trust influencers when they're making purchases. So if you're ready to jump onto this and get working with creators, here are a few things. So first one, choose the right creators. Don't be fooled by necessarily the following count. Look at what the engagement is like. Look at what they're posting. Does it fit your brand? The people that are following them, the people that are liking and commenting on their stuff, are those the people you're trying to market to? That is a huge thing. I'm surprised so many brands don't look into this. They just look at numbers and they don't see if that even is the people you should be talking to or that should be talking for you, because they're representing your brand. So shouldn't they represent your brand? Make sure they're, again, audience lines with their partner market. Look through their previous, this is a good way of reaching out to them. Look through their previous work. And if there's something that really stands out to you that you're like, that is what I want. One of the best outreaches I ever had was somebody said, I saw what you did with this article and I love that. Can we have you out so you can do something similar? So really look through their past stuff. Again, you would have to be willing to manage this kind of outreach, have some social media person doing this. And then again, to have a successful relationship, make sure you clearly talk about what your KPI is. What is your performance indicator? How are you going to measure if this was a successful partnership? Are you just looking for exposure? You just want to get more follows? That's great. Or do you need that call to action? Do you need that sales? Like, what are you looking for there? When you reach out to creators to talk to them and to try and get them to work with you, make it personalized. Please do not send 50 people the same email that says dear, comma, and it's not getting filled out, or your mail merge missed. And so I got the person above me their first name, which happens often. So just try and make it personalized. Make sure you are clear when you do get ready to go. Make sure you're clear about what the expectations are, what the timelines will look like, and what you're expecting. And then again, consider the fact that you don't always have to do one-off campaigns. In all of these methods that I talked about, there might be an opportunity to be able to keep working with a creator. And once you build a long-term relationship and have that ambassadorship level of partnering, then they will keep mentioning you and their audience will keep getting exposed to you. And there's that whole word of mouth. It used to be 7 times. I think it's gone up. I don't think it's 7 touches now. I think it's higher than that. But it used to say somebody had to be exposed to a brand like 7 times before they actually felt like they remember the brand. So just keep that in mind. And again, another thing is if you had a really great campaign with a creator, make sure you reward them somehow, even if it's an email saying you loved what you did. We'd love to do another campaign with you sometime. Are you open to that? Or, whatever it is, just acknowledge them. I cannot tell you how many times I've had campaigns and the brands don't even share or like the post because it's handled by a different agency and they didn't, like the people who worked with me in one didn't know to tell the other people. So just make sure there's clear communication so that the creator feels like you recognize their work and that it fit what you were looking for. So here's some key takeaways. We've kind of already talked about this. We already know that creators do drive brand awareness, not just awareness. It leads to sales. There's all the partnership types I talked about: product reviews, sponsorships, UGC, affiliate. And then again, communication is the key. Just make sure that both people on both sides understand what you're expecting, what's going to happen, and come out of it. And I'm going to leave you with this one. This was from Sprout Social. It's from a e-marketer campaign. So it said 86% of U.S. marketers will partner with influencers in 2025. So will you be one of them? There you go. And we'll just open it up to questions. Something?
So I'm not a brand. I'm a retailer.
Okay.
How do I pivot this to help me?
Yeah. Well, I would say retailers, you probably have a little bit of a better chance because you have multiple brands coming to you that might fit different creators. So you're looking to make sure you have a product and you want the creators to say, this is why they need to buy it from you, right? Is kind of where because that's what I would look at is, why is that creator their audience? Why do they need to buy from you instead of Amazon or something along those lines? So those are the tricks for retailers is, what is the experience? In the women travel space, there's a fashion brand that's really popular, and they've now started charging, I think it's $30 for a return, which is just outrageous, and most people don't want to do that. So they'll buy on Amazon because you get free returns on Amazon if you're a Prime member, right? So make sure that when you're a retailer, there's a reason to buy from you and not from the big box store. And I would say if you find a creator who really is used to maybe those niche products or that fits the shopping experience. Are you a brick and mortar or are you online? Yeah. So I would say if you're a brick and mortar, especially you want to look for local influencers because you want to get maybe foot traffic. If you feel like you do the most sales, like if most of your sales come that way, I would look for local creators that are going to be able to say, hey, we're having a party to launch this product. Do you want to come we're going to have a cocktail party, invite 4 influencers and let them film, shoot, play with some of the products, something like that. I would probably.
We want to drive experts into our store.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, local.
Selling a particular item, not selling.
Right.
Travel.
Yep.
So you have travel. So we have travel customers.
Yep.
We want those customers to think of us.
Yep.
When they need travel
Yeah,
accessories, luggage.
Local for you. You want to find local influencers. So you're going to want to make them appeal. So you want to get someone who, say I'm in Seattle, right? But I'm in a Seattle suburb. And so I'm going to have a different audience, although I do have a lot of mostly Seattle people because it's a greater Seattle. But if you're a Seattle store, you'd want to talk to people like me, not someone who's a Denver basis, because you want the foot traffic. And so no matter, I globally reach people across my Instagram channels, my blog, all of that. It's a global reach. However, there is always my Seattle and Washington is higher than any of my friends because there's local followers who know me. And so.
Did you grow up in Kansas City?
I grew up in Kansas City in Shawnee Mission, Overland Park area. I went to Shawnee Mission North.
You know what Prairie Village shop?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
From my store.
Oh, you'll have to give me your card. If I'm ever in town, I'll come visit you.
Yeah, back and back.
Okay.
Might have remembered.
Nice. No, I didn't come to that area. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I know, but I know Prairie Village pretty well.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. I know, I tried to.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah.
Other than the personalized messaging when you're reaching out to creators,
Yeah.
what makes brands stand out most to you in your experience?
Yeah. So I have a pretty strong ethics part for me. So there's certain brands and stores I don't recommend because I hate the shopping experience there. I'd rather recommend Amazon over another big box store. I'm a huge being in Seattle, I'm a huge Costco fan. So I think for me, it's the ethics of that brand. Does it fit what I think women what I was just saying about Amazon? I just filmed something that was at Target and then I realized, it wasn't a paid campaign. It was just me thinking, this is a cute little product. And then I checked myself because right now my audience, Target is not in a good place right now. So I think creators when we really know our audience, it naturally comes through when does this brand fit who I need to speak to? And so I think that being sure that you stand out with what makes you unique, that's the biggest thing. Why would you go to your store instead of Amazon? If you can help say, hey, this is what makes us great for your, it seems like you primarily speak to women. This is why we are great for women. Those little things of helping already do the work for me where I know what could my messaging be or why is this great for my audience? I would say that's one of the biggest things. And just ethics for me is a big one. Do you have good? I don't know who you sell for if you're a product. I think there's so much greenwashing with the sustainable. That started almost not being registered by me because everybody says they're sustainable. So it's really important that you explain what the exact details are. And I would say that's probably the big thing. And then being clear and upfront right away. Are you looking for a product exchange? Are you asking me for budget? There's always that give and take. It's always like, it's speaking to brands, it's hard for me to tell that for creators, we normally want you guys to give your number first. And I'm sure you guys want us to give our number first. And so there's always that back and forth of like, who's going to give the number first? So I think that just those are some of the things. Just be clear on what you're looking for. What makes you unique that would speak to my audience? And then do you really know who I am? So. Yeah.
And Kim, can you talk a little bit about user-generated content? What is that, and how are retailers and brands implementing that in their monetization strategies?
Yeah, I kind of talked on that, Angel. So much, I don't know that I can give much more than that, but I think the biggest thing I've seen is that they're running ad spend. So knowing again, and this is where, if you know where your audience is at, like, are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Do you have a way of already running ads and getting that kind of content out there? And you don't want to rely on paying content creators for posting. Like, you don't need their channel reach. You already know where your channel is at. Then I think that's a huge benefit, is getting them to create the content. Again, though, if you are expecting UGC, make sure it's very clear in your contract or your agreements that you want 10 images, you want these kind of hooks, you want this call to action, you want it to feel natural, you want no kids, no logos. Like, just, you have to be really careful that you're setting those up. So that's the biggest thing I would say. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Kim. Everybody, let's give a round of applause for Kim. And we also want to again thank our diamond sponsors for the stage and for the show: Cabo, Bricks, DB, Eagle Creek, Osprey, Pelican, Headgrin, 24/7, Cotopaxi, Delcy, and EastPack. We'll definitely see you all tomorrow back on this stage. We have more programming here. We have a couple of fireside chats, so will be very, very entertaining and educational as well. I'm Angel Castellanos. Thank you so much.